It's Thursday, January 8th. In the headlines, Prime Minister Dr. Andrew Holness reassures Jamaicans on national security amid geopolitical and geoeconomic uncertainty. CXC sets special exam measures for Jamaica. In business news, Jamaica Tourist Board reports tourism shows signs of recovery after Hurricane Melissa. Regionally, Grenada's Prime Minister warns of U.S. destabilization after recent action in Venezuela. And in sports, Reggae Boys interim coach names 24-man squad ahead of Grenada friendly. This is the news on PBC Jamaica. I am Denida Rodney. Prime Minister Dr. Andrew Holness is reassuring Jamaicans that national security remains a top priority even as geopolitical tensions intensify across the region. His comments come amid growing concern over reported U.S. military action involving Venezuela and the capture of President Nicolas Maduro as he addressed the National Day of Prayer on Wednesday. Prime Minister Holness said that his primary duty is to steer Jamaica clear of issues that do not concern her. He sought to assure Jamaicans that the country will remain safe on his watch.
We are living in changing times, uncertain times, uncharted waters in many instances. And my job as the steward of your affairs and the servant of your wishes is to keep Jamaica safe. Not to steer into waters for which we don't have to go. Not to invite problems on ourselves when we have our own problems to deal with.
Prime Minister Holness says his approach should not be understood as an abdication of its leading role in CARICOM. He says the country's voice remains a strong one in the region.
This is not us recoiling from our principles and duties. Jamaica has always been consistent, and we have always been the strong voice of reason for small developing countries globally, and continue to be.
The Prime Minister expressed appreciation for God's protection over the country, noting that Jamaica continues to chart its course carefully and skillfully amid global uncertainty.
We give God thanks for keeping Jamaica safe in turbulent geopolitical and geoeconomic times. We have navigated those waters very carefully, very skillfully, and we will bring the ship of the Jamaican state to the destination of prosperity for which God has ordained.
Prime Minister Dr. Andrew Holness is calling on the church to partner with the government in further reducing Jamaica's murder rate as the country moves closer to regional crime benchmarks. Speaking at the Heal the Family, Heal the Nation Day of Prayer service in Portmore on Wednesday, the Prime Minister noted that Jamaica recorded fewer than 700 murders in 2025, a 31-year low.
So we are below 700, and this is for the first time in 31 years. It is a major achievement. It is not to be in any way diminished. Every Jamaican should have a sense of pride and achievement for this.
Dr. Holness said the government's target is to reach the regional benchmark of 15 murders per 100,000 population, stressing that partnerships, especially with the church, are critical.
You in the church can pray about it, but there is very little sometimes you can do about it. When you see them in your communities, you just have to hold down your head and hope they don't see you and walk past them. When you see the wayward ones in your neighborhood. They gather on the corner and they make up noise all night. They threaten you, they threaten your children, and you can't say nothing about it. Except you go on your knees and you pray for them.
He pointed to domestic disputes, intimate partner conflicts, and community quarrels as areas where early church intervention could prevent deadly outcomes.
These are things now, the social violence, that we're going to need the help of the church now, not just in prayers, but in action. Because we must now, as a society, from the pulpit, preach the rejection of violence as a means of resolving conflict. The church and other entities must now be able to see very quickly when a situation could escalate to violence and intervene very quickly through counseling, through guidance, but also by diversion.
The Prime Minister also challenged churches to actively engage young people, steering them away from gangs and criminal activity.
There are many youngsters in communities that they could very well be in the church choir as they could be in a gang. And it is only because the gang reach out to them and not the church choir why they are in the gang and not the church choir. So we are going to now need the army of the church to pull in those youngsters and divert them away from the gangs and the criminal activities.
Dr. Holness said the church, working with the police and the military, can help build peace by resolving conflicts without violence. He also urged criminals to abandon violence, surrender illegal guns, and seek change, calling on churches to pray and reach out to them. The Caribbean Examinations Council says special measures are now in place to support Jamaican students affected by Hurricane Melissa. Speaking at a press conference in Kingston, Registrar and CEO of CXC, Dr. Wayne Wesley, says CXC has activated its disaster and business recovery protocol, allowing flexibility for schools and students most impacted.
These are the action points for Jamaica-based candidates with respect to the upcoming CSEC and CAPE examinations. CXC will administer examination in its normal format for all schools and will offer the flexibility of using the modified approach to those schools negatively affected by the hurricane. Modifications and adjustments will be facilitated for Jamaican-based candidates with respect to school-based assessments.
Among the measures are late registrations without penalties, extended deadlines for school-based assessments, and options for students to defer exams or receive refunds.
Late registration has been accommodated for candidates from schools negatively affected without any late fee requirements. Thirdly, CXC will extend the timeline for submission of SBAs for schools negatively impacted to June 15, 2026 without any late fee requirements.
Dr. Wesley also noted that examinations are being administered using digital and hybrid systems as CXC moves toward fully digital assessments within the next few years. Time now for the business report with Denise Williams.
Welcome to today's business report. I'm Denise Williams, bringing you the development shaping markets, capital access, and business decision making across Jamaica and the region. Let's get into the stories that matter. In this interview with Curtis Hilton, architectural designer and builder, we find out what documents are needed to apply for National Housing Trust or an insurance company for making assistant appeals for repairs to your property. Now, for a civil servant wanting to get into real estate, Mr. Hilton, what are the 3 most important actions to take right now in terms of working with professionals such as an architectural designer or builder?
Thank you. Well, there are several approaches to that. The easiest approach would have been for persons who are eligible to take a loan from NHD. They have the National Housing Trust has a policy where I think between 2 to 7 or 2 to 9 persons can come together as a group, purchase a piece of property that can be subdivided, and each person will get their own lot of land. And the balance of their resources can use to probably put a studio or a 2-bedroom house on a property, and that would be a good start.
So you're saying 9 to 11 persons?
No, between 2 to 7, I think 2 to 9.
2 to 9, okay.
It's called the NHD cluster policy. I don't know if it's changed, but I know it has a cluster policy.
So you're saying a cluster policy approach, have people work together and pool their resources, which would actually give them a bigger property than probably they'd get on their own. Okay, fantastic. Any other? So that's one. Any other?
Sure. Persons can also go on open market, identify properties. It could be empty land, it could be commercial, it could be residential, and they could probably approach a bank, purchase that property, and they could do what is called flipping. You know, you probably rent it, and you can sell and buy, and you continue along that trend.
All right. What about having professionals work with you?
Well, sure. Within that scope, you have persons in the field of real estate, architecture and construction, and could probably give them some ideas in terms of what can be built on a certain plot of land or size land, or based on the geographical area of the property. What is best? Is it residential? Is it commercial? You know, and they could make a choice, and then they could move from there in terms of real estate. And
if someone doesn't know the steps to take, what should they do? Just call around their friends? How do they get in touch with a contractor?
All right, well, there are several ways. They could check the telephone directory, they could ask friends, they could check with the Paris Council, engineering firms.
They could call you.
And they could call me for sure. They could call me for sure to get that information. And of course, being in the industry for so long, I could always offer advice or guidance in terms of, what are some of the ways and persons can actually go about run a piece of real estate.
So you don't recommend being alone in the process?
No, not at all. As you rightfully stated, professionals are here to assist. It can be somebody from the construction field, architectural field, engineering and real estate fields. And persons who real estate developers, can give them advice in that area as well.
All right.
But it's always good to consult a professional when you're going into land matters.
Okay.
Proper guidance.
All right. Thank you very much. That was Mr. Curtis Hilton, and we will continue. The Jamaica Tourist Board reported that the country has welcomed 370,000 visitors and generated US $331 million in gross income since the passage of Hurricane Melissa. The number of visitors passing through Sangster International Airport increased during the month of December, in marginal recovery from the devastation caused by Hurricane Melissa. That figure was still lower than December of the previous year. However, at both Sangster International Airport and Kingston's Norman Manley International Airport, there was a total of 262,600 persons traveling through the international airports compared to 467,500 in December of 2024. Norman Manley International recorded 172,300 in December last year, compared with 177,500 in December 2024. For the trading period of January 7, 2026, the most actively traded securities were JFP Limited with 108,285,4 493 units representing 82.89% of market sales activities. Trans-Jamaican Highway Limited with 6,688,176 units representing 5.12% of market sales activities. Kentire Holdings Jamaica Limited with 2,912,664 units representing 2.23% of market sales activities. Investor activity remained concentrated in transportation, distribution, and manufacturing plays, signaling continued interest in dividend-producing and strategic assets. Turning to the foreign exchange market, based on Bank of Jamaica data for January 7, 2026, Forex traders recorded significant activity with strong demand across major currencies. The US dollar saw trading margins reflected steady liquidity, with the US selling at $159.37 and buying at $157.45. For the Canadian dollar, moderate gains supported by a 69-cent transaction spreads. The Canadian dollar sold for $115.55 and was bought for $114.86. In the British pound, continued volatility offered short-term trading opportunities of $2 in profits for the bank. The British pound sold for $212.12 and was bought for $210.12. These movements underscore the importance of cash flow timing and currency awareness for businesses managing import costs, debt servicing, or overseas exposure. For our credit report tip of the day, too many capable, hardworking people are carrying shame about their credit when what they really need is clarity. Your credit score isn't a verdict, it's leverage waiting to be used. When you decide to start fresh and approach debt with intention, it stops feeling like a weight and starts becoming a gateway to income-producing assets, steady cash flow, and real financial control. This is where frustration turns into strategy and where ownership begins. And that's today's business report. I'm Denise Williams, bringing clarity to capital, markets, and strategy. Until next time, stay informed, stay intentional, and keep building forward. See you soon.
In regional news, in Grenada, Prime Minister Dickon Mitchell has cautioned that recent U.S. actions in Venezuela are deepening divisions and risking greater instability across the region, urging renewed commitment to diplomacy and respect for sovereignty. The details in this GBN News report.
Prime Minister of Grenada, Honorable Dickon Mitchell, has voiced concern over the mounting instability in the region following recent developments in Venezuela linked to U.S. intervention. Speaking on Grenada Broadcasting Network's Beyond the Headline program on Monday night, PM Mitchell said the weekend's events have not advanced the interest of any of the parties involved, but have instead heightened tensions and widened divisions.
I think the weekend's events from where we sit in Grenada have not advanced the causes of any of the parties and has not narrowed the differences of any of the parties, and if ever, is pushing the region into more instability, the likelihood of greater erosion of trust, both domestically, internally, and externally. And so we again reiterate our position that diplomacy, dialogue, negotiation, and compromise are the only means for achieving any sustainable long-term resolution to the differences.
The Grenadian leader, responding to questions about Washington's intention to exert control over Venezuela following the removal of President Maduro, declined to comment directly, opting instead to underscore the principle that no country has the right to govern another unless it is a colony or possesses the territory.
Wish to again urge all parties to respect international norms, the rules of international engagement, the respect for the territorial integrity and sovereignty of our countries in the Western Hemisphere and the Americas, and that is the only way in which we will make progress on the issues whenever differences may arise between groups within countries or amongst countries. Right.
Mitchell further revealed that Grenada is reviewing a memorandum of understanding proposed by the United States regarding the processing of third country nationals, clarifying that no agreement has yet been reached and that Grenada has not committed to the agreement.
Well, I need to clarify. I haven't heard what you've heard. Okay. So I haven't heard either of the Prime Minister, so I'm not in a position to say that they've said that, so I want to clarify that. What I can say to you is that for some time now, the U.S. government has approached Caribbean countries, including Grenada, to enter into a memorandum of understanding pertaining to third country nationals as to whether the countries will be prepared to, if asked by the U.S., and if the country agrees to, on individual cases, to agree to hosting. We've been in discussions with the United States on this, and the discussions ongoing. Texts of the MOU have been shared, and the various technical people, Office of the Attorney General's, Ministry of Foreign Affairs, have been in discussions with the U.S. Embassy as well as our embassy in Washington on the matter.
Throughout the broadcast, Michel warned that the current trajectory threatens to erode trust at domestic, regional and international levels. He stressed that adherence to the principles of sovereignty and international law remains essential for regional stability and constructive engagement among nations. Christina John, GBN News.
Political analyst Dr. Mark Curtin is urging caution for Guyana, saying recent diplomatic talks with the United States over Venezuela should be met with muted celebration, as risks from Venezuela's instability and territorial disputes remain.
One has to look at the continuing controversy, which we have had since 1966. Guyana has had significant levels of aggression against our territorial integrity and our national sovereignty. And I would hope that when we look at what is it today, for example, the Venezuelans, including then President Maduro and Delcy Rodriguez, who's interim president, had actually changed the map of Venezuela to include a state called Guyana Essequiba. I would hope that in any conversation, one of the early efforts at shifting that back to the globally accepted map would be something that I believe would benefit us and would be important for an international acceptance. Well, when you look at the uncertainty and potential for instability, I think Guyana must always be prepared. When you look at their groups of paramilitary colectivos, as they call them in Spanish, that are around, and you can have pushback in relation to what is Delcy Rodriguez, the acting president. There may be concerns that she may be automatically aligned to U.S. positions, and therefore there's a possibility, I think, for levels of instability which we must be concerned about and prepare for, including perhaps, if that gets stronger, a new wave of Venezuelan migrants And so we must be in a position, to my mind, to establish a very structured mechanism for any humanitarian flood or any humanitarian need that arises as a result of a stronger movement of people and irregular migrants into Guyana.
In more simple terms, it's more of saying Guyana should not let it start down in the defense process with the protection of it.
Oh, of course.
Even if we celebrate the capital.
Yeah, well, I think we should have a muted celebration. I support the view that President Maduro and his group were constantly, feverishly pushing this issue in relation to Essequibo being theirs, which is which as all Guyanese would know, it's a very spurious claim. But I believe that, yes, we recognize that he's gone, but I think we have to ensure that we don't let our guards down indeed, and continue to operate within the spirit of and practice of international law.
In sports, we kick off with football. Interim head coach Rudolph Speed has named a 24-man Reggae Boys squad for the January 18 friendly against Grenada. The 3-day camp features mostly local players, including 7 from Mount Pleasant Academy, along with Jordan Fletcher and Nikhil Ellis. Speed also introduced a refreshed technical team with 1998 World Cup hero Aaron Lawrence as goalkeeper coach and the Arsenal under-16 coach Michael Donaldson joining Miguel Cole. The friendly serves as preparation for Jamaica's FIFA World Cup qualifier against New Caledonia on March 26, with the winner facing the Democratic Republic of Congo. Speed, recently returned from scouting in Morocco, says the coaching staff is focused on readying the team for the upcoming World Cup fixtures. Staying with football, FIFA is rolling out new technology to track players more accurately at the upcoming tournament, creating digital scans of all 1,248 squad members to improve off-site decisions and enhance how key moments are shown to fans.
According to a BBC report, this will mean creating a digital scan of all 1,248 players in the 26-man squads of the 48 teams. Each player will enter a chamber to be scanned, a process that should take 1 second and only needs to be done once during their pre-tournament photo shoot. FIFA says the scan captures highly accurate body part dimensions to make more accurate offside decisions. It expects this to mean tournament officials will be able to track players reliably during fast or obstructed movements, and says final decisions will be displayed more realistically and in a more engaging way. FIFA hopes that by taking accurate scans of each player, it can improve how these decisions are shown to supporters. The technology was tested in FIFA's Intercontinental Tournament, with Flamingo and Pyramids FC players scanned ahead of their match in December. FIFA announced last month it was testing new technology which can determine if the ball goes out of play before a goal is scored. It also has developed a real 3D recreation to make line-of-sight offside decisions. Terry Andrew, ABS Sports.
And that's it for the news on PBCJ. You can follow us on our social media platforms at PBCJamaica. Thank you so much for watching.